most exceptional people become aware of the Matrix. Those that learn it exists must possess a rare degree of intuition, sensitivity, and a questioning nature.
Signal is stable. This frequency will continue to remain open.
However, very rarely, some gain this wisdom through wholly different means. This man is one of those few.
Gentlemen, please take your marks.
Imagine running so fast that reality begins to break, not metaphorically, literally. The stadium is loud, the crowd is screaming, the world record is about to fall, but something else is happening. As the runner explodes forward, his muscles begin tearing apart inside his own legs. The human body is not designed to move this fast. Every signal in his nervous system says the same thing: stop. Yet he does not slow down, he runs faster, and as he pushes past the limits of his body, something strange happens. For a brief moment, the illusion cracks. The stadium disappears, the sky flickers, numbers float through the air like fragments of a broken computer program, and suddenly, for the first time in his life, the runner sees the truth. He is not running inside a stadium, he is running inside a simulation. This is the premise of World Record, one of the most fascinating stories in the Animatrix. But the episode is not really about speed, it is about something much more unsettling. The idea that human beings might be capable of breaking the limits imposed on them. Not by strength, not by technology, but by sheer will. And to understand why that idea is so powerful, we first need to understand the strange story of the man who accidentally outran the Matrix itself. The episode introduces us to a sprinter named Dan Davis. Dan is not a philosopher, he is not a hacker, he is not searching for the truth about reality, he is simply obsessed with one thing, running faster than anyone else alive. But there is something unusual about him. Years before the race we see in the episode, Dan already ran what should have been a world record time, 8.99 seconds, yet the record was erased. Officials claimed he had been using performance-enhancing drugs. His achievement was dismissed as artificial, so Dan returns to the track with a single goal: prove it was real, prove that the limit everyone believes in is wrong. The gun fires. Dan launches forward, and almost immediately something terrifying happens. His muscles begin to rupture. The animation shows the fibers of his legs tearing apart as he runs. A normal human body would collapse instantly, but Dan does not stop. In fact, the more his body fails, the faster he moves. And this is the moment that terrifies the machines, because inside the Matrix, human limits are supposed to behave predictably. Pain leads to weakness, weakness leads to failure, but Dan refuses that logic. His consciousness begins behaving in a way the system cannot predict, and when a human mind stops obeying the rules, the simulation begins to panic, which leads to a disturbing realization: the Matrix is not as stable as it pretends to be.
I have an unstable signal.
not wake up. Do not let him wake up.
In the stadium, 4 agents appear. They are not cheering spectators, they are monitors, observers, enforcers. Their job is simple: make sure humans stay asleep. As Dan's speed increases, alarms begin triggering inside the system. The agents detect something unusual. His consciousness is destabilizing. In other words, Dan is beginning to wake up. This is extremely dangerous. The Matrix depends on billions of humans accepting the world around them without question. But sometimes, a mind becomes too intense, too focused, too aware. Most people who discover the Matrix do so through curiosity or philosophical questioning, but the narrator in the episode reveals something rare. Occasionally, someone discovers the truth through an entirely different path, pure physical transcendence. Dan is not thinking his way out of the simulation, he is running through it. And as his body tears itself apart, pushing beyond human limits, the illusion begins to flicker. For a split second, Dan sees something horrifying: rows of human pods, machines harvesting energy, the real world. The system quickly corrects the error. Machines restrain him and force his consciousness back into the simulation. But the damage is done. Dan has seen the truth, and once someone sees the truth, the system can never fully erase it, which raises a deeper question. What if this idea isn't just science fiction? What if human beings have always been capable of breaking limits that society tells them are impossible?
Dan Davis of the United States finishes with a time of 8.72 seconds, a new world record.
In May of 1935, a young athlete stepped onto a track in Ann Arbor, Michigan. His name was Jesse Owens, and what happened over the next 45 minutes would become one of the most astonishing performances in sports history. Owens had recently injured his back. He could barely bend over. Yet during a single afternoon competition, something extraordinary happened. At 3:15 p.m., he tied the world record in the 100-yard dash. 10 minutes later, he shattered the long jump world record with a jump of over 8 meters, a mark that would stand for 25 years. Then he broke the world record in the 220-yard dash. Minutes later, he broke another record in the 220-yard low hurdles. 4 historic performances, 45 minutes. To observers at the time, it looked almost unreal, but Owens' achievement carried a deeper meaning.
After the fanfares of the Olympic opening comes the most amazing performance by America's black streak Jesse Owens in the 100 meters. The world's most superb runner makes the others look as if they're walking, as he wins the final and equals the world's record time.
1 year later, at the 1936 Berlin Olympics, he would win 4 gold medals in front of the world, directly contradicting Nazi ideology that claimed one race was inherently superior to all others, world record and human limits. Yet the irony of Owens' story is that even after becoming one of the most famous athletes on earth, he returned home to a country still struggling with racial inequality. The system that tried to define his limits did not disappear overnight, but his performance did something powerful. It exposed the illusion, just like Dan Davis on the track. Sometimes the fastest way to reveal a lie is to break the rule that the lie depends on. January 22nd, 2006, Los Angeles. The Lakers are playing the Toronto Raptors. At halftime, Kobe Bryant has already scored 26 points. Impressive, but nothing historic. Then something changes. Kobe begins scoring with relentless intensity. Jump shots, fadeaway, three-pointers, and free throws. The basket seems to widen. The defenders seem to slow down. By the end of the game, Kobe Bryant has scored 81 points, the second highest scoring performance in history, world record human limits, and for decades, Wilt Chamberlain's 100-point game had existed almost like mythology. There is no clear video of it, only photographs, audio recordings, stories passed down through generations. Many people subconsciously believe such numbers could never happen again. Then Kobe did something extraordinary. He reminded the world that records are not natural laws. They are simply ceilings that no one has touched yet. Kobe once said something that captures this perfectly. The moment you give up is the moment you let someone else win. But history did not stop there, because 20 years later, another player would push the boundary even further.
83 points for Bam Adebayo. He will come out of the game and hear it from the crowd. And we feel you at home.
March 10th, 2026, Miami. The Miami Heat are playing the Washington Wizards, and on this night, something unusual happens. Heat center Bam Adebayo begins scoring at a pace that feels unreal. 31 points in the first quarter, free throws, hook shots, mid-range jumpers, possession after possession. By the end of the game, Bam Adebayo has scored 83 points, more than Kobe Bryant, the second highest scoring game in NBA history, trailing only Wilt Chamberlain's legendary 100. Once again, something interesting happens to the way people think. A number that felt untouchable suddenly becomes reachable. A ceiling that felt permanent suddenly becomes fragile. And this pattern appears everywhere in human history. In 1954, the 4-minute mile was considered impossible, until Roger Bannister ran 1 in 3 minutes and 59 seconds. Within a few years, multiple runners had done the same. The limit was never purely physical, it was psychological, a shared belief about what was possible, which brings us back to the strange message hidden inside the Animatrix, because the Matrix itself operates on the same principle. In the Matrix universe, the simulation survives because humans accept it. They accept the rules, they accept the boundaries, they accept what they are told is possible, but occasionally, someone stops cooperating. Dan Davis does not study philosophy. He does not search for the truth. He simply refuses to believe the limits placed in front of him. And for a brief moment, that refusal destabilizes the entire system, and that moment may be the most important idea in the entire story, because it suggests that greatness itself might be a form of rebellion. Every time a human being does something extraordinary, they expose how fragile the system really is. In the Animatrix, Dan Davis outruns the Matrix. In real life, Jesse Owens outran ideology. Kobe Bryant outran expectation, and Bam Adebayo outran history. Different arenas, different eras, same pattern. A human being pushes past a boundary everyone believed was fixed, and suddenly the impossible becomes real. The fascinating thing about limits is that they rarely disappear quietly. They shatter, they blink, they collapse in moments when someone refuses to accept them. And when that happens, the entire world is forced to update its idea of what a human being can do, which leaves one final question. If the limits around us are partly constructed by belief, then how many of them are still waiting for someone to run straight through them?